everyone. I'm Dr. Natalie Masís, and I'm very excited to be here with you all virtually for our first ever virtual convention. And these are definitely different circumstances than any of us anticipated, but I'm happy I get to spend some time with you all through the convention and also speak about one of the topics that I find most interesting as well. So I hope everyone is staying safe wherever you're tuning in from and that you enjoy the presentation. Today, I'll be speaking more on plant-based nutrition, trends, and perspectives. So this is a brief overview of some of the topics that I'll be discussing, including definitions, what does plant-based nutrition mean, motivations, why this trend is emerging, some health benefits, risks for inadequacies and NeoLife product solutions, and tips and tricks to make the shift. So we approach the marketplace and we find ourselves surrounded by different foods, different concepts, and all of this is evolving. It may even be a little bit daunting and confusing understanding how to navigate the food landscape. So being in the field of nutrition is always engaging and also constantly changing. We aren't really changing general ideas about what constitutes healthy eating or a healthy lifestyle, but we are learning more and more about what is essential for us to continue living healthier lives. And that's really exciting. And I love this image here because it encompasses a variety of colorful foods that highlight various aspects of nutrition. We want wholesome foods, we want color diversity, and we want nutrient-rich foods that can ultimately provide comfort and astounding benefits for us. I want to take you into a journey of better understanding plant-based nutrition and the trends and perspectives in nutrition. So plant-based nutrition does not necessarily mean that you're either vegan or vegetarian. There are different spectrums to plant-based nutrition, and as pictured here, it can fall along a gradient. So there's vegan or raw vegan, and this typically eliminates all animal products. So this includes dairy or eggs and lean meats. So none of those are included. Raw vegan is classified as consuming foods that are plant-based and uncooked. So instead of eating cooked rice, for example, you may eat sprouted rice. Vegetarian diets can encompass eating many vegetables, and you may consume dairy or fish products. A person may be lacto-vegetarian, where they consume dairy-based products like milk and cheese and yogurt, or ovo-vegetarian, where they consume eggs but no dairy. A vegetarian may be lacto-ovo-vegetarian, where they consume both eggs and dairy. And to the very left, we see that there are other labels for vegetarians, including pescatarians that consume seafood, or semi-vegetarian and flexitarians. A lot more people may actually identify as semi-vegetarians or flexitarians. They may be eating primarily plant-based foods, but sometimes incorporate these lean proteins. And actually, a report in 2017 found that 2% of people identified as being vegan and 4% identified as being vegetarian. However, if you ask people, well, do you consider yourself flexitarian or semi-vegetarian? 29% of people did find that they eat mostly plant-based foods. One diet in particular that has been known to incorporate plant-based foods as a main basis is the Mediterranean diet. So in this diet, there are moderate amounts of dairy, poultry, eggs, and fish, and healthy fats such as olive oil and from nuts and seeds are consumed, as well as red wine being consumed in moderate amounts. Red meat is limited or reduced in this diet pattern. Herbs and spices can play a powerful role in flavoring dishes, and this works as an alternative to using salt. So why is this trend emerging? There are different motivating factors for people to adopt a plant-based eating pattern. Even during this time in the pandemic, we're seeing a shift in people's eating patterns. And you probably even noticed changes in your own buying patterns, depending on what's available, because there have been some meat shortages as well. And some people may have shifted their eating pattern to avoid animal-based products because of contracting zoonotic diseases or diseases that stem from animals to humans. And many people have a voluntary choice to switch to a plant-based diet. And there may be some ethical motivations as well from religious beliefs or stemming from animal welfare. There also may be environmental concerns that are a motivating factor among vegetarians. So diets in the food chains are associated with 1/3 of the human influence on climate change and land use. And this is a concern among many organizations conducting research on sustainability in the food systems. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, or the FAO, describes that 15% of greenhouse gas emissions come from livestock production. So sustainable diets are needed that have a low impact on the environment, but that are also nutritionally sufficient. So there's this concept of planetary health, and this refers to the health of humans and the state of the natural systems on which it depends. So simply the health of both humans and the environment. So when we choose a sustainable food, it's important that 4 domains are actually considered, including health and nutrition. So how healthy and nutritious is this food? What's its impact on the environment? Is it socially and culturally acceptable for people? And what is its overall impact on the economy? To the very right, we see this image here of a plate, and this is derived from something called the Eat Lancet. This report focused on nutrition and sustainability, and it mentions how one should integrate more foods from fruits and vegetables and less from dairy and meats. So there's a larger focus on plant-based proteins. The authors of this paper did recognize that this type of eating pattern encompasses a flexitarian diet with modest amounts of lean and animal-based proteins being consumed. But of course, this doesn't encompass perhaps other domains. So that's something that to be considered. We want to make a diet pattern that can be more applicable worldwide. So we want to make a shift in improving our diet patterns, and this can even start at the home. How can we improve our own sustainability efforts? So this could be limiting your own food waste. You can apply this today. In 2019, the Vegetarian Resource Group conducted a national survey. So from the individuals they researched, again, I mentioned this earlier, 2% of people identified as vegan and 4% identified as vegetarian. The graph here shows the percentage of people that may eat vegan or vegetarian when eating out. We can see how this may differ among different age groups. So the orange line indicates a vegetarian food that was consumed, or the blue line indicates that a vegan meal was consumed. Among 18 to 34-year-olds, 60% of people noted that they sometimes ate vegetarian. Sometimes or always, and 26% noted they sometimes or always ate vegan. We can see that these numbers tend to go down as a person gets older. So older Americans are actually less prevalent of being vegan or vegetarian or consuming these type of foods. There's this general decline. However, the trend is increasing. Americans are eating more vegetarian meals when eating out. So in 2020, 46% of people generally ate more plant-based meals, compared to 33% of people who consumed plant-based meals when eating out back in 2011. We are seeing the trend even higher for plant-based alternatives to things we typically would consume. So to the left here, we see a beet burger, and it resembles a burger that may be animal-based. The same goes for dairy. We're seeing a lot more dairy alternatives such as sesame milk, oat milks, cashew, different ones. In 2020, the Hartman Group reported that 42% of consumers actually consumed plant-based milk alternatives within the last 3 months. So consumers are definitely wanting more plant-based options. The Plant-Based Foods Association had a press release noting that the U.S. plant-based retail market was worth $5 billion in 2020, growing at 5 times the total food sales. And according to them, plant-based food sales have gone up 29% in the last 2 years. So we can see this change as well, from 3.4 billion to 5 billion in 2020. They also released a recent press release noting that new data showed that plant-based food outpaced total food sales during COVID-19. And there was a big spike, particularly in March, with an increased purchase of plant-based foods. And the Institute of Food Technologists noted that this is definitely trending. They evaluated the top 20 foods and ingredients Americans are adding to their diets. We see protein, we see fiber, and we see plant-based protein, with 32% of consumers saying that they're trying to add more plant-based protein to their diets. And there may be different motivations for people, including their own ethical reasons, as I mentioned, environmental motivations, but a leading motivation for many individuals may be health-related. There are many positive health-related reasons to adopt a lifestyle pattern that focuses on plant-based nutrition. So it's actually been found that 46% of non-communicable disease deaths or deaths due to a non-infection disease are due to cardiovascular disease. And plant-based diets may impact cardiovascular disease mortality, shown here in the first bullet point, potentially due to reduced saturated fat, and plant-based foods contain more fiber and polyunsaturated fats, along with vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients. So different studies have evaluated various risk factors of cardiovascular disease, including measures of blood pressure and blood lipids. And studies have looked at vegetarian diets and their relation to impacting risk factors associated with obesity and diabetes and inflammation as well. One example of one study was when hypertension was examined. A review noted that those who had vegetarian diets had a 34% lower risk for hypertension compared to non-vegetarians. So we can gauge here that there are many health benefits related to consuming a plant-based diet. But there are some nutrients that need to be examined, and the position of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics did note some nutrients of concerns or considerations for people who may have a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet. And these include iron, zinc, iodine, vitamin B12, vitamin D, calcium, and omega-3 fatty acids. And iron is a mineral required for oxygen transport. It's actually the most common deficiency worldwide. And the bioavailability of iron, though, from plant-based foods is relatively low. So here you can see an image of different foods that may contain iron. Zinc is another mineral, and it's found in some vegan foods, soy products, legumes, grains, seeds, and nuts. As meat and fish are important sources, vegans may have lower zinc intake than non-vegans. So this is important to note. And vitamin B12 is needed to form red blood cells and DNA. So this is another nutrient of concern among vegans and vegetarians. And it's a vitamin of concern for vegans as it is naturally only found in animal-based foods. So this one in particular must be supplemented either through a vitamin supplement or through fortified foods. NeoLife does offer a range of products, the first being Vegetarian Multi, and this contains a range of vitamins, minerals, including iron, zinc, iodine, and B12, and it's 100% vegetarian-based. So consider pairing this with vitamin C for enhanced absorption, particularly for the enhanced absorption of iron. Iron and vitamin C go hand in hand. We also offer chelated zinc. Chelated zinc contains a chelated form of zinc for improved absorption in the body. Other nutrients of concern include vitamin D, calcium, and magnesium. You all heard about vitamin D, so you understand that it's key to bone health. Calcium also has roles in bone health and muscle contraction and relaxation. And if you can imagine, this is very important for sports nutrition and for athletes as well. Vegans can consume calcium-rich foods such as fortified plant milks or tofu and leafy vegetables. And magnesium also plays an important role with vitamin D and calcium, and it assists with muscle function and energy metabolism. NeoLife has many product solutions for these different nutrients. So the first is Vegan D, launched just this year, very exciting, and it contains vitamin D3 and D2. It uses a proprietary blend of naturally sourced and whole food-based vitamin D3 and D2 from lichen and mushrooms. The middle image shows CalMag. It comes in both capsules and tablet form, and it has the added benefit of vitamin D and magnesium to help in supporting bone health and nerve and muscle function. To the very right, magnesium complex. It features multiple forms of magnesium and a PhytoMag blend. Another nutrient to discuss includes omega-3 fatty acids. So long-chain omega-3s include eicosapentaenoic, docosahexaenoic acid that come from fish, and they're absent in vegan diets. So alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, can be obtained from nuts and seeds, like flax seeds as an example, and some oils, but its conversion to EPA and DHA is rather low. So higher intakes of ALA may be needed, and additional supplementation may be needed to fill these gaps. So NeoLife offers an omega-3 option for pescatarians and plant-based diets, and it's Salmon Oil Plus. It has a family of 8 omega-3s, and it's tested for 200 different contaminants. It comes from pure Atlantic cold-pressed fish, and you can find more of the clinical research studies conducted on NeoLife Salmon Oil Plus on neolife.com. NeoLife also offers NeoLifeBar, which comes with omega-3s, and it's completely vegan. It provides omega-3 fatty acids, fiber, and lignans from flaxseed as its plant source. There's whole grains there for additional protein and fiber. It contains 10 grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber, 320 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids. NeoLife Shake is another option for plant-based diets. It's a lacto-vegetarian option. There's 18 grams of high-quality protein per serving with all of the amino acids needed, along with branched-chain amino acids, including leucine, which is known to help with muscle synthesis. It also contains 5 grams of fiber and 25 essential vitamins and minerals. It makes a great breakfast option and can be paired with NeoLifeBar as well. So there are different tips and tricks to make the shift. So you want to incorporate more plant-based foods into your diet. Well, some tips that we offer include limiting red meat and processed meats as a first step. This is a simple solution that you can do. If you look at how much red meat you may consume, you can try limiting that per week. And try integrating more meatless meal options throughout the week. You can have a meatless Monday, or having Taco Tuesday with perhaps some plant-based protein, or if you have a pescatarian diet pattern, you can have fish instead. Purchase nutrient-rich plant-based proteins to have around on hand. So try purchasing more nuts and seeds to have during your breakfast time or to mix with your shake. The NeoLife Shake is a great plant-based protein option to have for breakfast as an example. And also try to prioritize non-starchy vegetables over starchy vegetables. So potato, as an example, is a starchy vegetable. So you can try to prioritize non-starchy vegetables instead of potatoes as one example, such as the ones on the left are considered non-starchy. Some final thoughts. Gradual dietary changes are helpful. So take small steps at a time when you make a shift in your diet. And it is easier or less complex to achieve plant-based diets with some meat, fish, and dairy if you need to. You can still have a predominantly plant-based diet with a great overall nutrient content. And ensure that you are obtaining adequate nutrients throughout your meals. So let's say you did miss a certain nutrient during dinner time. You can have a snack that can help with compensating some of these nutrients. And of course, NeoLife offers great product solutions to ensure that you are filling all your nutrient and phytonutrient gaps. And NeoLife can play a role in guiding you. There's resources through the NeoLife blog at NeoLifeBlog.com. NeoLife U offers extensive courses and teaching you different topics related to nutrition and some of the products as well, which is very helpful. And NeoLife Instagram always has some interesting posts, some suggestions on how to make a cool smoothie or wonderful breakfast options, and there are wonderful and amazing workout videos as well. There are a large range of NeoLife products that are classified as vegan and vegetarian, as shown here on this slide. We're happy you've chosen NeoLife as part of your health journey, where NeoLife is dedicated in helping to ensure high quality products that are based in nature and backed by science. Thanks for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the virtual convention. Until next time, thanks. Bye.